back to the sascast with your host, me, Sas. Thank you for still rocking with me and letting me know that what I'm doing matters by keeping me sharp, calling me out, and calling things to my attention as we go through this Island Council journey together. Can you believe it's almost the end of 2025? And I bet you wouldn't believe I literally started drafting this episode way back in June. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Life. I've been quite hard on myself for taking this long to get this finished, to be honest. But I did learn and understand why people say leadership is not and should not be about being comfortable. It's about accountability. And one uncomfortable truth that I had to face, and obviously it should, is that it's been way too long since the last episode. And I want to apologize for that. Because it makes me feel like a hypocrite wanting to do my job in the right way by holding people accountable and having been living up to my promises that I've made to you. And I'm not making up excuses, but I've been tired, not just physically, but mentally. There's been a lot going on, personally, politically, and emotionally. 2025 has been a year. It's been a lot. And I know I'm not the only one who's struggling. And while reflecting on those things and your feedback, it's become even clearer why vision matters. Because when things feel uncertain, we need vision more than ever. Not just from government, but from each other. And I often ask myself, am I doing enough? Will I accomplish anything by the end of this term? But, you know, every message, every comment, and every person who stops me on the road and says, Sas, keep going, reminds me that what we are doing together, it matters. And I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And I have to say, I'm also proud of us as a community. I see how you out there speaking up, asking questions, and holding everybody accountable, including me. And I love that for us. You know, I've been thinking about the first sascast where I spoke about checking boxes. And it wasn't even supposed to be a video. It was the whole sascast thing was not even on my mind. I just wrote down my first observations and feelings after becoming an Island Council member. And the people that I let read it said, no, Sas, you need to say this. And here we are. Sascast was born. I would have preferred to make a post, but. And why? Because it's scary. I really don't like public speaking. But, like I say, here we are. But I will continue to show up and be the change I want to see. Even when so much time passes and some backlash and judgment and people saying I gone quiet. But don't worry, it's still here. Fear doesn't get to win. The struggle is real though. So I want to shout to everybody out there still showing up, still asking questions, and still dreaming out loud. The ones who feel like they're in the dark but still light candles anyway. Today I want to talk about vision, or lack of vision. We all know that vision is important. You can't move forward if you don't know where you're going. And even a blind person could tell you that. So, where are we going? What's the plans for tomorrow or the next 10 years? What will Sabre even look like? And more importantly, what do we want it to look like? Saba has been a public entity for the last 15 years. The Caribbean part of the Netherlands, as they call it. And I wonder how things were projected to look 15 years ago. What dreams were sold? Did the Netherlands promise to fix all our problems while our local government maintained the status quo, expecting real results? Or was it seen as an opportunity to strengthen ourselves as a people and as a government with more resources because of our direct ties with the Netherlands? I'm really asking because I don't know. I was younger, not living on the island, and not so interested, to be honest. But now I think about that a lot. Are we building real progress or just a facade? Because taking care of our people needs to be the vision. Let's talk about a harbor project. I've been hearing a lot of people, with their views on why it's important, why is it not important. So this started after Hurricane Irma in 2017. The original goal was to make the current harbor hurricane proof, to extend the big pier, fix the small pier, and maybe even add a pool. There was a lot of different ideas. But after studies, it turned out that no matter how much we reinforce the existing harbor, big waves and storms would still make it inaccessible. It was never just about an elaborate pier. It was about food security and resistance. So now the plan shifted to building a brand new harbor at a new location. Meanwhile, the current pier stays the cargo pier, and the Fort Bay Road remains a silent threat. Should I call this magnificent new planned harbor a vision or a lack of? Breaking news. Our community is upset, saying outsiders are taking jobs locals could do. Are we truly preparing our people? Or are we training and informing them early enough about opportunities? Or are we telling them that someone from the Netherlands or outside of Sable makes more sense? What about placing real value on those who have built, nurtured, and sustained this island from within? The future of Sable should not depend on who arrives next, but on who has always been here, waiting to be trusted. We talk about lack of capacity all the time. I never hear real solutions. Sometimes it feels like the system is designed to keep some people down and put them in their place rather than lifting everybody up. And that's not real vision. The main response here is that some of our people are actively trying to upgrade themselves and the rest aren't. But come on, are all of our people given the same opportunities to grow? Not really. Ensuring people have fair working conditions is their right and the government's responsibility. We know the private sector falls under the national government. I never hear of advocacy for them. It's usually more like it's the ministry's responsibility. But when things happen within the government organization, the local government organization, it also doesn't seem like we are taking that responsibility either. And another topic that people keep asking about, island council members sitting on boards. Well, personally, I stepped down from a board when I became an island council member. And since then, I've been asked to join other boards. And I declined each time. Why? Because it doesn't sit right with me. Most foundations of boards on Sable receive funding from the island government, which is approved by the island council. So if I sit on a board, I'd be both asking for the money and approving the money. It may not be a conflict of interest, but it's conflicting to me. And many ethical guidelines and legal codes specifically require individuals to avoid situations that create even the appearance of a conflict of interest because perceptions matter significantly in maintaining fairness and accountability. We talk about good governance, but good governance requires accountability and supervision. And then some of us think that we don't need supervision. And that brings me to processes. When processes are missing or unclear, lines get blurred. That's when people start losing trust. Because even government staff, because if even government staff aren't sure how things work, how can the public feel confident that their concerns are being handled fairly? That's also how accountability slips. Because without clear steps or documentation, no one can trace who made which decision or why. And when that happens, good governance turns into guesswork and vision disappears. Right now, we have a lot of construction across the island, and it's all important. And I'm not an engineer or anyone that studied anything regarding spatial development. But with the construction of buildings for Sabre Cares, we've basically lost two roads, and at the Scenery Hotel, some parking lots, some parking spaces are lost. Under the Hill now has a significant amount of new apartments, and to get there is one way in, one way out. And the road is too narrow for more than one car at a time. Again, vision or lack of. I used to always ask about planning or plans, but the reality is, what's that saying again? That from them people, the proof is in the pudding. Real planning doesn't exist because if there were a vision, plan would be attached to it. Whether we like it or not, the island is growing. Is there a vision for how far we are willing to grow? What would be the cap on the population? How many cars are too many? How much property are we willing to sell? All these things put strain on our limited resources. How can we keep moving forward without taking these things into consideration? We need to plan growth. That's vision. Our counterparts in the European Netherlands rely on research and data for everything. And that's something I admire. It's one of the reasons I brought a motion to create a healthcare monitoring system. So we have our own local data ready when we sit with the ministries. Because right now, we rely heavily on Dutch reports. But where are our reports? Where is our research? The data that reflects how we live, how we struggle, or even how we grow. We have all read the letter and speech about all the things that are still lacking after 15 years. And great that we have these things listed, right? But honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was the author with such great lobbying skills that got all these funds for the biggest financial project in Sabre's history, which is the Harbor Project, couldn't make headway with cost of living and poverty. I mean, look, the guy is good. Another 80 million can do wonders, just saying. But yeah, it's difficult to see what's necessary when you're so far away from the people. It feels as if the people who run the day-to-day do not live on Sabre or on the same Sabre that the rest of us live on. What are our actual priorities? I mean, I've seen the governing program, so I guess that's the administration's vision, but I have yet to see the execution of the governing program and also see it reflected in the budget. So maybe the vision isn't clear. And I'd encourage everyone to read it if it's published somewhere. At the end of the day, my vision for Sabre is simple. I just want everyone to be good. It sounds cheesy, maybe even a little naive, and cliche, but that's really it. Level the playing field. Create real opportunities for all. If everyone has the same access, everything changes. It feels like on this island we move by faith and not by sight, dealing with things as they come, which means you don't anticipate anything. You have no plans and no vision. I really miss the part where the people come first. I miss the parts where the people have a say outside of election time, because it seems like that's the only time their voice matters. And the only thing that comes to mind is, who are we even serving? Ourselves. I'm disappointed when some refuse to see the bigger picture. And it breaks my heart to hear about unfair treatment. And sometimes I'm discouraged to keep going. But even on my hardest days, my vision stays the same. For everyone to be good, to be treated fairly, and to have the same chance to grow. I'm not giving up until that becomes a reality.
416, that's my area code.
Yo, thank you for listening to the sascast and believing that Sable can be better. Until the next time.
What we do now?